Hello, calculus students. Today, this video explains how to find average value of a function. This is a unit 8 and you have seen this before, but we are going to revisit as applications of integration. So objective is understand and use mean value theorem of integrals. This is not mean value theorem of derivative, what we have seen, but this is a finding value, which is a y value. So let's take a look at this few graphs here. On the first graph, f of x below, we know that the area under the curve 0 to 2 is f of x. We know, we are very familiar with this area under the curve 0 to 2 f of x dx. Now, is there a rectangle with a base 2 whose area is exactly equal to this definite integral? So I have a ready picture here for you to understand that base has to be 2. So if I consider this rectangle, this is too little. If I keep going up here, this is too much. Too small, too much. So think about anywhere here exist at least value C where this area of this rectangle is exactly same as this. So let's explore this theorem. It says this is summarized by mean value theorem for integral. This is not the same as MVT for derivative. So what this says is if f is continuous on the closed interval and exists a C where this area is exactly same as that. So this is a height and this is a width. What this says is that area under the curve A to be expressed as the area of the rectangle. We are putting them equal to each other. Now, rarely you are using this format. You must rewrite this as an average value. So let's take a look at this example. If you put them equal to each other, and if you solve for C, you divide by 1 over B minus A, which is called average value. Recall, you have seen this before as this format 1 over b minus a to b, f of x dx. Memory is coming back. If you remember, we use this as a Riemann sum. This piece we use as a Riemann sum. We use as a trapezoidal sum. We also use a calculator to integrate, which means collect all the values and divide by the interval. Collect all the values. Collect means add, which means integral, and divide by the width, which will give you average y value. Average y value. So we are going to revisit many problems you have done before in unit 6, early unit 6. But we are formally introducing them here. Now, notice that this is always y value. Biggest misunderstanding students are having is not understanding x and y. Value means y. Value means y. So this is the same graph as given above here. So let's find the actual value of that. What is that average height and where is that happening? So as usual, anytime you find the average value, you always integrate. Okay. Having the same problem I had before, so just to have some patience with me, I'm going to reset this as a okay. So let's check it out now. Okay, so f of c 2 minus 0 0 to 2 f of x. This is f of x dx. Okay, so as usual, we know the drill. Oh gosh, again, my bad, guys. I'm sorry. Have patience with me. I'm trying my best to get rid of it. Okay, we are back here. Okay, so the drill is integrate 0 to 2 f of x dx. 0 to 2 x squared plus 1 dx. 2 minus 0 is 1/2. Antiderivative of x to the second is x to the third over 3 plus x, and then comes ftc, which is f of b minus f of a. and then comes back to, this is 1/2, and you have to simplify. Which number comes out? 1/2, 3 times 2, 6 times 14 over 3, which will give you 14 over 6. Okay, so this is called average value, which means if I go back up in the triangle, the height of this f of c, this number is 14 over 6. So you can see clearly it's slightly more than 2. Now, our job is to find what is this value c. That is the second part of this question. So that says, what is the value c where this happens? This piece is quite straightforward because you put them equal to each other. 14 over 6 is c square plus 1, and as usual, solve for c, subtract 1, which will give you 8, 6, and square root. Anytime you take a square root, then it is plus or minus, but you need to know the interval 0 to 2. You must choose only one number. So this question is without story, where what happened, what's the c. So the concept is again average value and where this happening at c. So let's take a look at another example without source story, and we are going to look at this as a trig function. Okay, so the sine graph, sine of x, 0 to pi. So everybody should know how the sine graph look like. Question is 0 to 2 pi, and this is pi. We have to find average value of this 0 to pi. What is average? This is the rectangle. I mean, you can say where this rectangle occurs, that these two area exactly same. So as usual, setup is must 1 over pi minus 0. You don't really need to show pi minus 0. It's assumption. It's 1 over pi, 0, pi minus 0 is pi, 0 to pi sine of x dx. Now we are going to do this without calculator because I want you to review the antiderivative of sine is negative cosine. Antiderivative of sine is negative cosine. And 1 over pi ftc back to 0 to pi. And again, take a look at this. Is negative cosine pi, negative cosine 0. Know that cosine pi and cosine 0 are, this is 1, this is negative 1. It doesn't become 0. So that will be negative 1 minus sine and negative minus sine. It is 2 over pi. That means my average value is 2 over pi. Now know that the sine graph maximum is a 1. So 2 over pi is below 1, and that makes sense. This answer is making sense. Now, where this occurs, I need to find the c value, where this is the c value. And for that part, you will need a calculator. So again, you must have a setup. F of c is 2 minus pi. What is f of c? Sine c. Now we have a two option to find value of c. You can do it as a, first of all, let's take a look at graph and intersect option. Graph and intersect option is the easiest one, and I highly recommend, because all you have to know is y1 is a sine x, y2 is a 2 over pi, and on a 0 to pi, find these two intersections, and those are your two numbers. If this is a multiple choice question and one of the answer choice is only one number, and if you miss the other number, that will be considered incorrect, because on the interval 0 to pi, you have two numbers where it is the same. One more time, let's understand the graph of sine. 0 to pi, you have two answers where you have a same C1, C2, but you don't have to say C1, C2, there are two answers. Now, if you are not familiar, I wouldn't say not familiar, you have to know this concept, how to do graph and intersect. But there is another option which some of you may find it faster, doing sine inverse. What is sine inverse is you don't have to do graph and intersect. You don't need to do setting the window. You don't have to do any of that. Straight away on a home screen, you can get this one number. But again, I said that if you don't remember that sine is positive on a unit circle, first and second quadrant. So this is your first answer. The second quadrant answer is pi minus, because this is a pi and this angle is pi minus theta. So whatever your first answer, you subtract minus pi, you get the second answer. And you must consider both answers. So this is a graphical option. This is not graphical option. This is a really, really interesting problem. You may see this kind of question as a multiple choice. This is a very typical multiple choice question where you don't have to show work, but you have to understand how to get these numbers. How to get these numbers. So let's take a look at one more example here, which is about okay, let me move this, which is about velocity. So let's clear this. I just want to explain how to velocity of a particle v of t, average velocity. Be careful, they will ask you sometime. This is a very popular question. You have to read carefully. Is it asking for position? Is it asking for acceleration? Is it asking for velocity? So at this time, all you have to connect is velocity, average velocity. So straight away, v of t, integrate from where? 1 to e. What's the interval? E minus 1. And this is your average velocity. So let's write it. E minus 1, 1 to e, ln t over t dt. Now, if you use a calculator for this, you will get nice, clean, easy answer. Most common mistake for this kind of question is students are forgetting to multiply by 1 over e minus 1. This answer will come how? 1/2. And this will be 1 over 2e minus 1. If it is a multiple choice question, you must know to simplify. So what I did here for this case, I use a calculator to evaluate this answer, which comes out 1 over e. But this type of problem, you also must know how to do without calculator. You must know how to do without calculator. Must know how to do without calculator. So for that part, let's take a look at up here. Knowing without calculator is unit 6b. Using u sub, u is ln of t, du is 1 over t dt, and you must rewrite the integral. You have to evaluate e also. T is 1, u is 0, because ln 1 is a 0. ln e is a 1. And let me reveal the whole answer is 0 to 1 u. Antiderivative of u is u square over 2 ftc, and you get the same answer. So I'm going to reveal both part, with and without calculator. With and without calculator. Take a look at this, with and without calculator. Calculator answer, if you divide by, this is 0.5, and you divide by e minus 1, which is the same as 1 over 2 e minus 1. So this is calculator answer. This is non-calculator answer. You must know both ways. You must know both ways. So again, average velocity means collect the velocity. So I make kind of a joke for this kind of question is, if you were asked to find average of, let's make a, I'm just making a fun part here, average value of, let's say heart. So what that mean? On the interval, your lifetime, how much you love somebody on maybe 10 years, right? If you are evaluating average value of love for 10 years. What that means is you are dividing by 10 and you are collecting all the love you have loved some person and for that many years. This is what average value of the love for 10 years is. You collect all the love for 10 years and then you divide by 10 years. Now, many times I make a fun of this, like average value of a duck or elephant, whatever that is. You collect all of them for 10 years and then divide by 10, just for the fun part. So read carefully. Velocity means velocity, average velocity, collect the velocity. Read carefully about the velocity kind of questions. Okay, so now this is a really good example here, and we are going to revisit something we have learned in previous unit, I would say that. Okay, so trapezoidal rule. Average number of people in a line to enter Las Vegas buffet. I don't know. I'm not sure if you are familiar with. Some of you may have been there to Las Vegas, but these are very, very popular. Las Vegas buffets are like people spend hours and hours there. But there is a long line. So this question is a kind of a funny way to understand what's the average length of line. You decide to go to have a buffet last minute, but there is a long line and you are estimating what's the length of the line. So time 7 to 8 p.m. and this many number of people were, like, this is the data, think of that. At 7 p.m. there were 20 people in line. 7:05 there were 25 people in line. 15:40, like this is what is the average length of line. Now these are hour, so this is a minute. You have to be careful because 7, this is 5 minutes. 10, 15, pause the video here and collect all of this width. Now, if you recall how to do the not Riemann sum, I'm sorry, trapezoidal sum. Trapezoidal sum review is width and average. Like for example, 20 plus 25 and the width is 5. This is a Riemann sum for all of this. So what is the concept here is you are trying to find the average number of people in a line from 7 to 8 p.m. So first of all, let's take a look at the uh, Riemann sum. I mean, sorry, my bad, not a Riemann sum, but a trapezoidal sum. So let's consider average length is number of people, total number of people. I would say total number of people from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. divide by 60 minutes. Okay, so when you are doing trapezoidal sum, the units are very important in this case. When you are doing trapezoidal sum, what will be this? What will be the unit of this and unit analysis? So let's say you are doing all the number of people, 20 plus 25, 20 plus 25. And this is a minute. So unit analysis is number of people times minute. And then you are dividing by 60 minutes. So minute get cancelled and you get the people. So this is really interesting problem. You can pause the video here and I did not write all of this, but you are going to add all these numbers. You don't have to simplify. So let me help you set up. For the first few is 5 and 20 plus 25 divided by 2 plus 10, 25 plus 40 divided by 2. And go ahead, set up all of them. Now, you don't have to simplify this. You can just leave like this. But the most important is what's the unit for this question? What's the unit for this question is it is going to be number of person. So you don't have to again simplify. I did the work for you. Just for the fun part is how many people are going to be at least 28 people in the line average. Anytime between 7 and 8 you go, there will be average 28% in the line. Average number of people in the line. Now notice the unit is again one more time people times minute that is divide by minute, you get number of people. This is average number of people. So very interesting story. Maybe next time you go to Las Vegas, try buffet and think about this question. Okay, so for more practice, you are going to do this homework, and there are many interesting problems. Internet cafe, average value of the functions, and finish this you can use a calculator for some of these problems. If you see the answer decimal, that means calculator is allowed. um, Summary one more time. Average value is, let's write the formula on top of it, is 1 over b minus a to b f of x dx. Thank you so much.